We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Martinis with Scott. Happy St. Paddy's Day. It is March 17th, 2021. This is our daily touch base, our opportunity just to do a quick hello, maybe cover a topic. If you have any live questions, feel free to type them, say hello in the chat, and hi to whoever is viewing right now. I can't see who it is, but welcome aboard to Martinis with Scott. So this is episode 129. Big news this morning. But first of all, I am back in podcast headquarters here. Thank goodness. I had enough of my travel that was working out all that well for me. So it's good to be back, and I'm excited to shoot the Thursday afternoon show and have a drink with you. I think I'm shooting that this afternoon for release Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Mike Lindell. Now, I know the moment I say that, you guys are going to go crazy. You're going to send me nasty comments. You're going to give me all your hatred. This is not a political show. Get lost with that. Mike Lindell is going to countersue Dominion Software, and he has Alan Dershowitz on his side. How fun is that going to be? We'll maybe touch base on that on Friday when we do our fun touch base. For now, we have a viewer question that was sent to me. Hi, Scott. High growth, in air quotes, high growth comes up during the episodes, and I wonder if you can elaborate on companies that do not desire growth. Elaborate on companies that do not desire growth. It seems counterintuitive. When or why would companies want to pause growth? When would a company want to pause growth? So I always say on this show, welcome, by the way, if you have questions or comments, throw them into the live chat. Thank you for tuning in to Martinis with Scott. I always say on the show and in my business that corporate turnarounds to me are the same as high growth. And if you think about it, you're a troubled company. Let's say you were at baseline of 100, and then you drop down to baseline, to say 20% of what you were doing, 50% of what you were doing, and you turn things around and you get back to where you were going to be, which was 100, where you were before. Well, you've gone from 20 or 50 to 100, so you experienced some high growth on the opposite end of your turnaround story. To me, turnarounds and high growth are companies that I've been consulting to and investing and buying and lending to for 30 years, and I'm kind of indifferent as to whether they're high growth or whether they're turnaround. The high growth doesn't have the negativity associated with it, but it also doesn't have the track record. The turnaround company has a base normally of operations that you can rely upon, and all you have to do is turn that ship and regain your competitive footing. But for me, it's kind of the same work. It's literally, I'll let you know a little inside baseball here. It's literally the same engagement letter. I don't care if you're high growth and entrepreneurial. I don't care, and you're out trying to get VC money, grow your business. I don't care if you're in a turnaround. You need to refinance, restructure. It's literally the same engagement letter from my perspective. And the way that I think about it is I think of chaos versus order. And I've been thinking about it as chaos versus order for, as I said, 30 years, long before Jordan Peterson published a book about chaos and order. And now I don't know, am I stealing his content? Am I supposed to change my lingo? I'm going to stick with it until somebody tells me differently. But chaos, if you think about it, is a sense of being out of control. Think about a troubled company that is in chaos. What are their symptoms? What do you see that lets you know that they're in chaos? What do you feel when you work there that lets you know that your business is in chaos? The systems, the corporate systems that you have are behind the times, and they're not doing their job. Their internal controls aren't doing the things that they should be doing. They've fallen apart. They're not being followed. So you don't have internal controls. You're probably out of money, right? Always happens. I mean, that's the very definition of a troubled company. You're short-staffed, right? Because people have, all the good people have probably left your business. But the people that stick it around are either those that are so loyal that they're not going to leave ever because they're loyal and they love the company and they love the founders, or whatever the reason is for sticking around. But they're not getting the job done, and you know that because you're troubled. So they don't have the leadership and the resources to get the job done, or they are the people that have no other alternatives, and that's why they've stuck around. They don't have other job opportunities. So you're short-staffed. You don't have the systems and the systems I talked about already, but the financial tools in place to go out and make the changes that you need to make, and that would include your leadership structure. What other symptoms? You're working around the clock just to keep your head above water. You're putting out fires all the time. Those would be the feelings and the identifying markers of a troubled company. They're precisely the same in a high growth entrepreneurial venture. You don't have the systems, you're behind. You don't have the internal controls, they're behind. You're perpetually out of money, right? Often, unless you've got a big VC check, which is kind of rare, you're perpetually out of money. You're short staffed. You're always trying to hire more for growth. You don't have the tools in place. You're working around the clock just to keep your head above water, just as you would be in a troubled company. So to me, high growth and troubled companies are the same thing. Welcome everybody on the live view to Martinis with Scott. You want to throw in, have some comments, say hello, please do so. So to me, troubled companies and high growth companies, very same issue. Think of it as chaos and order. These companies are in chaos. What is my job? How do you help these companies? Well, you bring some order. You bring some order to it and you help them execute. You do that through simplification. You do that through communication. You do that by maybe taking a step back to get things under control. You do it by focusing on the one thing that's the most important, or the three things that's the most important to push this company in the direction that it wants to go. I've referenced a food company that did a significant turnaround on, feels like maybe 2 years ago at this point. And when I walked in, their management team was in complete chaos. We ended up with significant turnover. Most of, I think, probably 2/3 of the management team was turned over by the time we were done in the year, and the turnaround was a great success. But what I said to them day one is, look, I'm going to focus on the important things here that are going to push us down the road and start making things better, which are specifically in your company, fill rates and production systems. That's what we're going to focus, and we're going to refinance and get some more cash in the door. So those were kind of my three things that I worked on every single day. And you guys focus on putting out the fires, because you have to put out the fires. You can't allow yourself to burn. But putting out the fires doesn't push the ball down the field, right? Doesn't punt this down the road a little further. And that's what we need to do. You deal with the fires. I'll deal with the big picture, and we'll meet in the end. And this company went from -$6 million in EBITDA to +$2 million in EBITDA in 1 year, and then to $6 million, $8 million in EBITDA the next year. Just a terrific turnaround story, because we brought some order to the things that are important. And so, as I said, when you think about it, turnaround companies are high growth companies, right? This company grew, the food company that I'm referring to, had great earnings turnaround, but its revenue also increased 20-30% that fiscal year, simply because we were fulfilling orders and we had a low base. And percentage wise, that's excuse me 1 second. That's never happened on live stream before. Excuse me. Sorry for that. Those of you listening in, I'm glad I caught the mute button on time. All right, now. Order. So that was talked about chaos. Let's talk about order. If you have too much order in your business, is that a good thing? Is it good to be stable? If you have order, you're not creative. Is it good to be not creative? Or if you're not growing, is that a positive thing? Well, no. If you're not growing, you're dying. You're dying if you're not growing. Why is that? It's because business is competition. Business is competition. And if a growth is a sign that you're winning the competition, right? If you're growing your top line, or growing by some other way that you define that is in tune with your customer behavior, okay? If you're growing your reviews are going up, your customer engagement's going up. If you're growing anything that has to do with the relationship between you and your customer, then you're winning. You're winning the competition of business. You're winning the attention, the hearts and minds of your customers. And that's what business is all about. And if you're not winning the attention and the satisfaction of your customers, then somebody else is. Somebody else will be competitive with you, and they'll start winning over your customers, and that means you're dying. Okay, so growth is a sign that you're winning in competition. That's why I believe it's never explained. It's always, you always hear this phrase: if you're not growing your business, you're dying. Well, why is that? Well, I think because the growth is a signal that you're winning the competition of business, and if you're not winning the competition, you're losing the competition. And you can milk an old dying business for a long, long time. You could milk it for a generation of a family, for 2 generations of a family, because the brand was so stable. But you are dying. You're dying. So it's a matter: are you going to die tomorrow? Or are you going to die 2 generations or 3 generations from now? But if you're not growing, you're dying. You're dying because you're not competing. And if you're not competing, you're losing. Right? Simple as that. So someone's going to eat your lunch. You don't have creativity of growth. You don't have the energy of growth. You have too much order. And what you need to do, can't have too much order and be a staid, tired company that can't attract great resources, doesn't have any energy. Can't be a chaotic company that's out of control and can't keep its people and can't attract resources because there's just no way to communicate the mission of the company and to communicate value and growth and have some control around those things. You need to be in the middle. You need to have a little order, a little chaos, sort of day to day, back and forth. And sorry, just popping off my phone here as people are waiting till I go live to phone me nonstop. You need to have a little order, and you need to have a little chaos, and you need to have growth. And I don't necessarily think that you need to grow your top line all the time. You need to grow your relationship with your customer base. The person that asked me that question is in the law business. Let's say in that law firm that person is in, that they don't want to grow. Sorry, just keep turning this off as this guy keeps floating. They don't want to grow their number. They don't want to bring more lawyers in because more lawyers means more real estate, means more overhead. They don't want to grow their top line. Focus on growing your client engagement. Focus on growing your client engagement. Find a way to measure that and grow it, because that means you're still competing for the hearts and minds of your customer, of your client base. In the instance of this law firm, that's a good way to think about growth. You don't have to be adding a bunch of lawyers on for growth. Focus on your customer relationship, whether that be more customers or deeper relationships with existing customers, and then you're competing, and then you're going to win. That's been my 15 minutes. Thank you for listening. This has been Martinis with Scott, the daily touch base on Happy St. Paddy's Day. Have a couple of drinks, and we will talk to you tomorrow.